Joining me now is Matt Majkrzak, the first-year head coach for the Northern Michigan men's basketball team. Matt, thank you so much for joining me today to talk a little Wildcat basketball. I do appreciate it. You're coming here from Wisconsin, from Bryant and Stratton. You coached for one season there. What attracted you to come to Northern? You know, what was it that really kind of made you say, hey, I want to apply for this job and I really want to coach the Wildcats?
Northern's a place that I've always known about. I went to UW Green Bay and actually started my coaching career there, so not real far away, and had an AAU program at the time which was being recruited by a lot of the Division II schools throughout the Midwest. So Northern was a program I always had known about, but it's also the second closest Division II school to my hometown, Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. So it was something where location-wise I was familiar. Obviously the program's on an upward trend where last season they had a lot of success, and that was obviously something you want to be a part of versus, you know, a program that was in the bottom of the league. So that was definitely exciting. And then the biggest thing was just I kept hearing about how great the Marquette community was, how great the Northern athletic facilities and program was, and then the school in general being a big kind of public school definitely had a lot to offer for students. So it was a place that I thought we could really, really win at. And at the end of the day, I think as a coach, the biggest thing you want is an opportunity to go win championships and not just compete, but be able to compete at the highest level. And this is a place where I feel confident we can do that at.
You know, a lot of success in your previous job in that one season. You really were able to build a winning culture there. What are some lessons that you're going to take away from that job and bring here to Northern?
Yeah, it's a different level, junior college versus Division II, obviously. Differences in the four-year player thing, but the head coaching experience was really helpful. I'd been an assistant at the Division II level for so long. I was already familiar with a lot of the Division II stuff, but just the head coaching, it's, you know, everyone always says, hey, when you become a head coach, it's way different. And you always think, maybe it will, maybe it won't. It definitely is. And I learned a lot last year about what it's like to call the plays, do all the subbing, run all the practices, and just a year of experience with that I think really helps. The other thing was we'd experienced quite a bit of success, and I think just dealing with how you are successful and keep everyone kind of driving towards that big goal at the end while achieving success, that's something that unless you've experienced it, you can't really put into words what it's like to kind of have that championship drive towards the end of a season. So those were kind of my big takeaways last year, was just the head coaching experience and what it's like to really try to be a champion at the highest level.
You know, I do follow you on Twitter, and even before you guys even took the court, you came up with the slogan, #BeDifferent. Talk about what that represents and why you feel that is the slogan you want this team to kind of get behind, to, you know, to go on and get behind that and have a successful season.
Yeah, I think the Be Different thing is, that's kind of what we want our culture to be based off of. We have Be Different painted in our locker room. We talk about it almost every day in some capacity. For me, it's not just an on the court thing. It's on the court, it's off the court, in the classroom, in the community, and there's a lot of college basketball programs, and all of the teams in our league start the year off with roughly the same. We all have gyms, we all have scholarships, and what is going to separate us from the rest of the teams? And for me, the basketball component is one thing, and obviously we want to recruit the most talented players. But once we get those players here, what can we do day in and day out differently than what the rest of the country's doing? And for us, it's going to class every day and not missing classes. It's showing up to practice early rather than on time. It's getting in extra shots. It's, you know, when we go to Culver's yesterday, it's striking up conversation with the people in Culver's, not just sitting there on their phones, picking up trash in classrooms. It really isn't any one thing, but it's just all these little actions that add up over time. And the hope would be that by the end of the season, by the end of a player's career, they're going to be very confident at the end of games. They're going to be very confident when they graduate and are doing job interviews, because they know that they've been doing things consistently a little bit different than what other student athletes have done. And that's hopefully that little edge that you're going for when all the teams are really good. It's those little things that can maybe push you over the top to be that conference champion.
You know, you're taking over a team that went 17-12 last season, 11-9 in conference play, a team that went all the way to the GLIAC semifinals. So you do have a lot of talent on the roster, but you are losing a lot of talent, including 2 players who ended their career in the top 8 on the all-time scoring list in Naba Eccles and Isaiah Johnson. So you do have some players returning, but you are losing a lot. What have you seen out of this team so far? I know you're just a week into practice, but you know, what are some expectations for you guys?
I think I'd start with, I mean, Naba Eccles and Isaiah Johnson aren't going to be replaced. I mean, they're you know, legendary players here. I actually recruited Isaiah out of high school, and we almost got him to my old school. I'm glad we didn't, because I'm glad he went here and the way things work out. And then Naba's is on our staff right now. So it's Coach Naba now, and he's doing a great job. And we're not going to be able to replace those as individuals. So we're going to have to do it differently. It's going to have to be all through the team. We're not going to be able to rely on that 1 or 2 guys to just kind of take over games late. And obviously in basketball, it's great to have those star players and those go-to guys. The flip side of that is with our group, our star has to be the team. And I think the guys have really embraced that it's going to have to take a group effort. We're going to have to share the ball really well on offense, have really balanced scoring, and then be defensive minded first and foremost, because the one strength of all those returners is, well, those 2 guys were scoring a lot. They were guarding everyone, and they were rebounding, and they were doing all those little things. So we have a lot of experience at those little things. We got to grow our guys as scorers, but at the same time, those guys need to rely on what they've always done well, which is defend, rebound, pass, do all the little stuff. I think in particular we have 3 seniors that have played a lot of basketball games, won a lot of basketball games. I don't think I can ever mention enough that those guys came into a program that was really, really down. After 50 years straight of Northern being one of the premier programs D2-wise, it had a 10-year run where it was at the bottom of the league. And those guys came in and took the program back to at least the top half. And so those guys have done so much. Miles Howard, a 2-year all-defensive guy in the league, been a 3-year starter. He's the best defensive player I've ever seen in person at this level. And then Sam Taylor's another 3-year starter, 2-year all-defensive guy. So those guys have started a lot of games. Marcus Metelsky's been a player for 3 years. Alec Froon played a lot and started about half the games down the stretch last year as a junior, and then Troy Summers started a few games down the stretch as well as a sophomore. So it's not like we're lacking experience, we're just lacking that returning scoring. So it's going to be really interesting. I think they're still finding exactly their roles, but at the same time, the buy-in has just been incredible out of the group. They seem like they know that we have to change, and they're very open to that change. And it's been really, really fun to work with them day in and day out.
Are there any younger guys, you know, maybe some sophomore players or anything that you hope that will take the big step and make a jump and really contribute to this team this year?
Yeah, one in particular, Delapo, and I don't even want to say his last name because I'll probably screw it up, but Delapo's been fantastic for us. He redshirted last year with a medical redshirt. He was starting early on in the year, and he's one of our most talented guys. I think that year of having his season shortened got him a little maybe more hungry to come in and be an impact guy for us. So he seems to be playing with a little extra fire, and he's one of our hardest workers both on and off the floor. So I'm really excited to see what he can do in an increased role. And then we have some freshmen that are going to come in and play minutes right away. Don't know exactly how many or if they're going to start or not start yet, but we probably have 3 freshmen right now in our top 8 or 9 guys, and that's always exciting to have new guys kind of come in and show potential for the future, but also I think they can help us right away.
So for our viewers who are out watching, who love to come in and take in these NMU basketball games, what can they expect out of your team? What type of product are you going to put on the floor?
I think first and foremost we want to be tough. I think the Marquette community's a tough group of people that are blue collar, and I want our team to reflect that day in and day out with our defense and our rebounding and our competitiveness. And then I think the second thing is we want to be really, really unselfish and sharing the ball and playing great team basketball. And then I think the biggest thing is I'm hoping we're going to have a lot of fun. Our guys are fun people. They're great in the community. They're great citizens, and you can see that when they play, because they just really show their enjoyment and their passion for not only basketball but for each other. And I think those are kind of the trademarks of what we want our program to be, not just this year but going forward.
The Wildcats, they're going to open up or play their first home game on December 5th, so make sure you get out and support this team this season. Matt, thanks again for joining me, and good luck this season.
Thanks so much.